This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Tuning in right now. My name is Sister Abby Hidalgo, and I will be your host for today on INC Radio New York. And with me today, we have our lovely guest who you've seen probably on our previous episodes, or I guess we can call him our district health professional resource person, Brother Cliff Stierba. How are you doing today, Brother Cliff?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. And I'm feeling very well rested and ready to get on with our topic today.
Yes, we have an important topic to discuss. This does affect everyone. And I think it'll be very interesting to learn how we can, improve our sleep. So today we are ready to unlock our best night's sleep. So creating the ideal sleep environment and adopting a soothing routine can make all the difference. So on today, on INC Radio New York, we'll share our top tips to transform your bedroom into a peaceful sanctuary and explore our sleep routines that will help you unwind for a restful and rejuvenating night. All right, so we'll just get into it. We have our Brother Cliff from, I believe, the local of Wyndham. Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Brother Cliff?
You are correct. It is the local of Wyndham.
Yes, he's like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Bristol in a way. But yes, so how are you doing today, Brother Cliff? I know you mentioned you had a good night's rest.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes on in a day to day. And in order to have the energy to get through everything and to be efficient and to be able to think properly and think ahead and plan, you need a lot of brain power, but also you need physical energy. And a good night's sleep is the key to having a productive day. Instead of feeling like you just want to go back to bed and stay in bed the entire day, the a good night's sleep is going to help keep us active and productive throughout the day. So that's what I try to do so I could be ready for this episode right here.
Yes. So I also try to get a good night's rest, especially when we have important stuff the next day. So before we kind of delve into how to get a good night's rest, let's talk about our environment. So what are some things that we can change our environment to have a better restful sleep?
Yeah, it's a very common question. A lot of my patients will have this will ask, like, how many hours of sleep do you get? And we want to see a number between 6 and 10 hours of sleep. And usually when they have less sleep, my first question to them is, do you practice sleep hygiene?
Mm.
And sleep hygiene, it's just like, it's the opposite of when you're waking up in the morning. If you think about when you wake up, your body has a routine. You wake up, you make the bed, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you get some coffee, and then you're starting with your day. Your body also wants to see a routine for when we go to bed, and that's called sleep hygiene. And so these are things like turning off all electronics, any blue light, right? Blue light that comes from our tablets or our phones or our computers or our TVs. Those blue light mimics the stuff that comes from the sun. And if it
Hmm.
comes from the sun, it actually triggers our brain to think it's daytime outside, even though it's pitch black. The fact that we have these light sources that look like sunlight to our brain, it actually inhibits the formation of melatonin in our head, which melatonin, as we know, is helpful for sleep. So the first thing that we got to do an hour before bed, turn off all the electronics. Yeah, we shouldn't be taking our phones to bed or watching TV till we fall asleep because it actually hinders our sleep. Another thing to do is to make sure that all the light sources in our room are off. These include, like, alarm clocks. Alarm clock lights can be kind of bright. There's other things that we plug in our cell phones. They have all these blinking lights. So we try to move these to a spot that's far away, that it's not in our, because, like, if, for example, you close your eyes right now, you can still look out a window and appreciate sunlight coming through your eyelids, right? When you're
Mm.
outside versus when you're in a room, your eyelids are not a perfect blackout curtain, right? So the idea is that we have to remove all light sources from our room as well. Um, People find that they like to fall asleep with some sound. So a sound machine, the rain or a fan or something humming that helps soothe us when we go to sleep. Another thing is for people that are having trouble falling asleep, um, you can read a book that's not too interesting. It can't be a page turner, it's got to be something a little less interesting than that. I've been known to read my medical literature, and that puts me to sleep almost instantly.
Yes.
Um, but you don't want to read something that's too entertaining because you can actually be tired, but your body's going to still crank through things. Um, and if we're still having trouble falling asleep after that, we can approach sort of the medical pharmacy side of getting good sleep. So that's what I would do basically.
Other than, like, the light sources, doing the sleep hygiene and whatnot, a noise machine, some people like that. Like, I think I need to sleep in complete silence. Um, but how about temperature? Like, is there an optimum temperature we should have in our environment to help us sleep better? I feel like I've read somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's better to have a colder environment because if I don't remember the reasoning behind it, but you shouldn't go to sleep very warm because it actually makes you more uncomfortable because you're sweating a lot and you'll wake up more because you're hot. I, I might be wrong, but I don't know if you, in your research or in your training, if anyone mentioned about temperature being associated with sleep.
Yeah, when it comes to temperature of sleep, I think younger children prefer to have slightly warmer beds. But as we're older and we become to the adult age, we appreciate slightly cooler beds. I think it's just because of our body mass and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, as far as the room goes, the room, I think, could be a little on the chillier side. As long as the blanket that you have is enough to keep you nice and warm. There is this Swedish tradition, um, where what they would do is before bed, because it's cold out there, they would open up the bedroom window to the child's bedroom and allow the room to get cold. But they would do is take a water bladder and fill it with boiling water and just put that in the sheets, under the
Hmm.
sheets. So the bed and the blankets get nice and warm. And then what they'll do while the kids are finishing up brushing their teeth, right before they get in the bed, they'll close the window to the room so the room is nice and chilly, and then take the kids and put them in between the blankets. And so having that cold air coming in through our nostrils, but having a warm blanket to sort of settle into is very comfortable for a lot of people. And that helps people go to bed right away. I think you just sort of have to experiment and try to find a good temperature that you like. I know there's really fancy setups that will like air condition or heat the bed, fans and temperature and heated blankets and things like that. But everyone has their preference. And so whatever you feel works the best for you, where you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go, that's probably the best temperature.
Yes, we have some comments through our chat about their tips for, their sleeping environment. Sister Jem Starabus says no screen time or exposure to any blue lights at least 1 hour before sleep. Like what Brother Cliff mentioned, blue light kind of simulates the sun, so it kind of tricks your body. It's like, oh, it's still daylight, even though it's like 9 p.m. or whatnot. Sister Cheyenne says blackout curtains. So for those people who like a regular schedule and with all the daylight savings time and whatnot, having blackout curtains, I think it would be beneficial so that you won't get disturbed by the sun rising, or if you have to sleep during the daytime, if you're night shift workers, so you can get a restful sleep. And then Brother Ray Valdez says, as much as possible, I try to go to bed and wake up at the same time, even on weekends. So, Brother Cliff, my question to you for, if you know this, is it be- to have a better night's rest is having a regular sleep schedule, or it's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I know we do this like for when we were kids or for our children, that they have a set bedtime and a set wake up time. Is like, should we have consistent bedtime and wake up time routines throughout the week?
Yes, it's very important. Just like you said, a consistent time to wake up and go to bed is really important, especially for some people. We've had people that, all right, for example, children, they need to have lots of sleep, right? And your brain gets used to going to bed at a certain time. No matter what the time is, your brain is already ramping up to get ready for bed an hour or two before your sleep time. So the thing is, if we're going to change that schedule and try to go to bed hours earlier or hours later, we will have trouble falling asleep because our brain, our body just isn't adjusted to that. So for children, right, a consistent sleep schedule is really important. Everyone always talks about that, but why is that? Well, because kids need lots of sleep to grow. That's when the kids grow.
Hmm.
That you grow when you're asleep, you recover when you're asleep. And so to get your body on a consistent schedule of going to bed, it's really important to get as close as you can to that every single night. We have people that have insomnia, people that are the night owls and they love to stay up late at night, and then all of a sudden they have something early in the morning and they want to try to go to bed earlier, and they're challenged and they just have this difficulty falling asleep. Um, the people who have trouble falling asleep earlier should try to adjust their sleep schedule only about
Mm.
15 minutes earlier. That's it. You can't go an hour earlier. So you're going to try just 15 minutes earlier, and you do 15-minute increments every couple days. So if you go to bed at 10, but you really want to go to sleep at 9, you have to adjust your schedule to go to sleep. Instead of 10, you say 9:45. That's when I'll go to sleep for the next few nights. And then once that happens and you're good at going to sleep at 9:45, and go to 9:30, and then go to 9:15, right? And then to 9 o'clock. And that'll take about 2 weeks of adjustment. People that's kind of how our bodies have to go. We just can't rush our bodies into something. So we got to maintain some kind of consistency.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think I know this in my person, like anecdotally. If I change my sleep habits or sleep schedule, like say, I go to bed at 8 and then the next day I go to bed at midnight, and it's like I feel actually more tired than I actually feel, then even though I get like, let's say 8 hours of sleep or whatnot. Um, I guess to go back, I know we talked about this in our pre-show. What's the importance of having a good mattress and a good pillow or something? Like, how often should we kind of invest in our sleeping arrangements? Like, is that really important, or is it like sleeping on like on our beds that we had since we were kids? Is that like, good for us?
Yeah. So my grandfather has a quote that he likes to say: you have to have uh, good shoes and a good mattress because you spend your life in one or the other. You spend your life in one or the other. So obviously, we take great care that when we're walking around, we have comfortable shoes. That's kind of like the big thing, right? We're always looking for a comfortable shoe to walk in. Same goes for our mattresses. Our mattresses should be comfortable. Some people prefer stiffer, some people prefer softer mattresses. But I guess from the research suggests, you know, if the mattress begins to have like a cave that you, when you lay on the mattress, you sort of flop into like a depression in the mattress, time to change your mattress. We should be rotating our mattresses, every year. Um, and if our mattress goes beyond, I guess, what was it, 5, 6 years, we should
Yes.
already be looking for a new mattress. Oh, and the best one that we had a good laugh of is if you go to someone else's house or you go to a hotel and you get really good sleep in that bed, and you're like, oh my goodness, this bed is so comfortable. Maybe it's not that the bed is really comfy, it's just your body has been sleeping on a bad mattress for a very long time. So take a look at your mattress. If it looks like a spring's poking out of it, or if it looks really lumpy and uneven, maybe it's time to get a new mattress because that's very important for our sleep. Our sleep is key to having a good day the next day.
Yes, and in addition, like to know when you should change your mattress is that if you have increased allergies, because you sweat, you and whatnot, and dust collects in your mattress. And even though you have like sheet protectors and whatnot, and some people, vacuum their mattresses just to make sure to minimize allergens. But if you notice that you're having more allergies or you have asthma and you're having some respiratory issues, also, if you're waking up with more joint pain or joint muscle aches because your body isn't really resting and you're not comfortable when you're asleep, even though you're sleeping, those are some like things that you should, obviously talk to your provider about your sleep habits and what you can change to improve your sleep. But those are kind of thing. I don't want to say warning signs, but things that you need to like be aware of when you wake up in the mornings. Like, hey, I'm not sleeping well, even though I'm sleeping. I feel more tired or whatnot. And also, Brother Cliff, we also talked about, there was a comment. Um, Sister Cheyenne, she says she tries to get at least 5 to 6 hours of sleep to function well the next day. What is the recommended number of hours we should sleep in the night? And can we ever catch up on sleep?
So we have this in our office when you first come in as a patient, we have this called an intake form. Basically, it's patient sort of fills out a form, and on the form it says how long do you sleep? Six. It should be between 6 and 10 hours, right? That's the recommended amount of time that the majority of humans on Earth need to function properly. For myself, it's about 7.5 hours exactly. If I go above 8 hours, I'll feel really weird, like I've slept too long. And if I get below 7.5 hours, I'll feel like I didn't sleep enough. When it comes to the amount of time that we sleep, it's variable, but 6 hours is the minimum that we should be aiming for. And it should be a good 6 hours too. We should wake up feeling rested. I know some people are like, what's that feeling like? I can tell right now there's some people out there who are like, what does rested feel like? Well, when you feel good, you wake up, you don't have a headache. You don't feel like you can go back to bed and sleep for another 5 or 6 hours. The sleep that you get, whatever the number is, should be above 6 hours, and it should be complete restful sleep. And it shouldn't be the, sleep where you're waking up and you're just not happy with how much you've slept. Because the thing is, there is no such thing as making up sleep. Once you've lost the sleep at night, your body is just tired the next day. So that means you're going to want to have more sleep the next night. But that doesn't mean it replaces the sleep that you lost. Your body is just more tired. So there is no such thing as replacing lost sleep. It's just you've lost it. You have to try again to get more sleep. And then what your body wants on that next day of sleep is probably closer to what you should be getting anyway. So that's how many hours you should aim. So if you have to wake up, early to get to work, try to time it out. Try to plan out 6 to 10 hours beforehand. We should already be getting into bed. And that means you're not getting into bed 6 hours and then laying in bed for an hour before falling asleep. You should be getting asleep and have 6 hours of full sleep before you have to wake up. That's what we're talking about here. It's got to be quality sleep.
Yes. And also I know I read a comment, I think it's from Brother Alex, is that the number of hours of sleep that we need depends on your age, correct? So like if you're younger, because your body is growing, like kids, babies and whatnot, they're growing. And as you mentioned before, that's when most of their growing happens, is during when they sleep. They need longer hours. So again, talk to your pediatrician if you have concerns about your child not getting enough sleep. And also when you get older, right? The elderly needs more sleep. You know, they live quite a bit of time, so they need more rest compared to us youngins, I guess, Brother Cliff, right?
Yeah, you definitely it as you get older, your need for sleep, your desire for sleep actually goes down a little bit. But it doesn't mean that you can just get 4 hours of sleep and get on with the day. You should be trying to get 6 hours of sleep. Even if you don't feel like you need it, you should be trying to aim for that because good sleep throughout your life actually doesn't just affect the next day, but it can actually affect further on down the line. We've associated people with poor sleep patterns and sleep habits. We've associated this already with things like dementia and Alzheimer's, early death. You actually, your body suffers when you don't have good sleep, and you pay for that later on down the line. So, it's really important to make sure that your sleep is good.
Yes. I know we're kind of winding down to the end of our show, but other than like having a sleep hygiene or a sleep routine, any other sleep hacks or tricks that you would recommend for us, those who think need some assistance in our sleep or sleeping?
Yeah, this is a big one here. Talk to your provider. If your spouse or your family is complaining that you sound like a chainsaw or a truck trying to find gears on the highway, uh, and you're waking everyone up in the middle of the night because your snoring is so intense, or if you've been trying to do good sleep and you're doing all the sleep hygiene stuff and you're trying to follow all the rules, but you're still getting bad sleep, talk to your provider about getting a sleep study.
Hmm.
Statistics are about 50% of Americans have sleep apnea of some kind. This is an obstructive sleep thing where your tongue is either falling in or your chest is sagging down and you're not breathing properly when you sleep. These people need a CPAP, a continuous positive air pressure machine. It's like a mask that you wear at night. So 50% of Americans have sleep apnea, but only about 10% actually ever get checked for it. So if you feel you're not getting quality sleep, this could be a cause. And you don't have to be a big person. You can actually be thin. There's different types of sleep apnea
Hmm.
that can affect you and cause you to have bad sleep. So talk to your provider, ask for a sleep study if that's a possibility, and they'll just send you, it's like a little beeper. You just wear it to bed and it records how you sleep. And then that gets
Hmm.
sent off and they can tell you whether you're having what breathe where your breath basically sort of stops for an extended period of time because you need to oxygenate while you sleep. Your brain needs some oxygen, your body needs oxygen, and if we're not getting good oxygenation, you know y- the sleep hygiene and stuff can help, but it's not going to help as well as a CPAP machine. So talk to your
Yes.
provider.
And other like symptoms of like having sleep apnea or any, other sleeping disorders, because there's also narcolepsy and there's other, other sleep disorders that people may have. But, you hear about sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and whatnot, is that throughout the day, you're feeling more tired, right? And you feel like even though you think you got your 8, 9 hours of sleep and you're like constantly tired throughout the day, or you fall asleep just because, you're sitting in the chair and all of a sudden you just fall asleep because your body is so tired. That's, things that you need to discuss with your provider because, it can also affect your health, like what Brother Cliff said. Having good sleep, is prevents you from like having, other health issues down the line.
Yeah, you could imagine having 8 hours of sleep, but feeling like throughout the day falling asleep again. So I had a patient, we sent him for a sleep study. It turned out that in an hour, he only got 8 minutes of actual sleep time. So he could sleep for, you know, 6 to 10 hours and still have less than 2 hours of actual good quality
Sleep.
sleep. The rest of the sleep time, it just wasn't helping him. When we got him on the machine, he finally had the machine. He was emotional. He realized that for like 2 decades, he didn't
Yeah.
have good sleep. He was actually like emotional with waking up and feeling rested. And that's how we should all feel every time we wake up. We should feel rested. Maybe not super emotional, but we should feel rested.
Yes. Well, thank you, Brother Cliff, for the informative information that we received today. Before we go on to our next segments, any greetings or shout outs do you have?
Of course, as always, to my beautiful wife and child who are supporting me from the other side over there, to the congregation of Wyndham, the brethren here in New England and the New York district, and to my family abroad. Hello, and I hope you guys get great sleep.
All right. Thank you once again, Brother Cliff. Some activities that we can look forward to for the District of New York are local scrimmages for our upcoming district unity games. So to coordinate with your local CFO officers for when these will occur. Also, we'll have continuing our local evangelical missions. So let us continue to support our local activities. We'll announce our top hashtaggers, starting with the top 3 local congregations from last week's show. Number 3 is Portland. So congratulations, Portland. Number 2 is Staten Island. So congratulations, Staten Island. And the number 1 top hashtagger is Rochester. So congratulations, Rochester, our local up north. And our top hashtaggers, we would like to recognize Sister Hannah from Portland, Sister Kim from Staten Island, and Brother Zyron from also Staten Island. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to like and share this video to those insomniacs that you have in your life so that they can be informed about their sleeping habits and improve it, and have those restful nights. But that's all for today's show. We thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you for the church administration to continue to give us a platform like this to speak about interesting and important topics like these. Don't forget to catch us again next Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and or Sunday 12:30 a.m. Philippine time. I think that is the wrong time because we are on daylight savings time. But greetings to our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, and to our Christian Family Organization coordinator and sub-C president, Brother Angelo Aranio Manalo, and greetings to our INC radio station manager, Brother Wally Taray, and then to our executive producer, Kuya Manley and Daya, to our district minister, Brother Sheridan Santos, our assistant district minister, Brother Neil Patrick Omelda. That brings us to the end of our show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and have a restful night.